In chapter 3, Lord Krishna explained the science of Karma Yoga, a technique of achieving self-realization through our daily work. Arjuna found it practical, but he had a doubt, and he inquired why people fail to maintain their determination in performing good deeds, but easily get distracted by things that are harmful to their well-being. Lord Krishna explained that it is due to lust, and then he revealed 3-step process to defeat lust. Finally, Lord Krishna concluded chapter 3 by glorifying spiritual knowledge and recommending Arjuna to cultivate it to overcome the lust. But what is spiritual knowledge and how to receive it? Lord Krishna reveals this in chapter 4. To begin with, the acronym for this chapter is PAST, where P stands for Position of Krishna from verses 1 to 10. In text 1 to 3, Krishna explains how he originally established the spiritual educational system by personally imparting it to saintly kings such as Vivaswan, the sun god, and then this spiritual knowledge was received through disciplic succession or Parampara. However, in the course of time, the disciplic succession was broken. Thus, Krishna imparts it to Arjuna again. In other words, the spiritual knowledge can be received only through a teacher or guru connected to disciplic succession started by the Lord Himself. Just like we don't get an engineering degree or become a doctor by reading books at home, similarly, we cannot acquire spiritual knowledge by reading Bhagavad Gita alone. Well, someone may ask, what is the importance of Parampara or disciplic succession? The answer is, it preserves the integrity of original message spoken by the Lord Himself. And second, it presents the teachings and purpose of Lord as it is, without any dilution. For an instance, more than 700 commentaries of Bhagavad Gita are available in the market, and majority of them don't even acknowledge the original author of Bhagavad Gita, that is Lord Krishna, as the Supreme Lord or His existence. Most of these authors are conveying their opinion through Bhagavad Gita and are using Bhagavad Gita's goodwill and popularity for their gains. Thus, none of their readers hardly attain any of the desired objectives of Bhagavad Gita because the original message was never presented. However, if the original message of Bhagavad Gita is presented, it will bring worldwide revolution in the consciousness of humanity. This will eradicate all ills from our society. Hatred would be replaced by love, selfishness by compassion, arrogance by humility, and anger by kindness. All kinds of racial and gender discriminations, religious fanaticism, and animal farming or killing of innocent animals will cease to exist. Why? Because every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We all are spiritual beings undergoing bodily experience. As soon as a child is born, we tag him with so many false identities such as nationality, religion, gender, etc., and divide society based on these false identities. All these differences exist only on the bodily platform. But once we understand our true spiritual nature, everyone becomes our brother or sister. Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON and disciple in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Parampara, proved it by presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is. He created a society where the whole world can live together, and today ISKCON has more than 700 centers all around the world, even in Pakistan. This is the power of receiving spiritual knowledge through a bona fide parampara. In essence, spiritual knowledge means 3 things. First, knowledge about the self. Second, how to establish one's divine connection with Lord. Third, the knowledge about the Supreme Lord and His opulences. And in verses 5 to 10, Lord Krishna briefly speaks about Himself and he explains that there is no difference in his body and self, but we acquire a material body upon birth. He knows past, present, and future, but we don't, as we forget after accepting a new body. He never takes birth or dies. He appears or disappears by his own will, but we are forced to appear by karma and die accordingly. He appears with a mission to fulfill. First, to establish dharmic principles, just like Buddha appeared to establish Vedic principle of non-violence, and second, to give pleasure to his pure devotees. Those who know this truth about him become free from the cycle of birth and death and return back home, back to Godhead. This brings us to the second section of this chapter, where A stands for applying spiritual knowledge. Many people believe in God, but often their understanding is incomplete and hazy. However, when spiritual knowledge is received through the bona fide disciplic succession, one gains an accurate understanding. In 3 verses, Krishna clears up 3 common misunderstandings of Eastern spirituality or about Hinduism. First, all spiritual paths lead to the same destination. In text 11, Krishna explains that while there is unity in diversity, there are also different gradations of spiritual elevation. The Lord reciprocates and reveals according to the consciousness of the follower. Second, all demigods are different forms of the Lord, or Hinduism propounds polytheism. In text 12, Krishna re-emphasizes the monotheistic stance that there is only one Supreme Lord. People worship different demigods to fulfill their material desires. The demigods are also living entities invested with superior powers, but are not equal to Krishna or Vishnu. Third, the caste system is unfair and exploitative. Not at all. Just like someone's marriage ends up in divorce due to bitter experience with their partner, it will be unfair for them or others to claim marriage institution to be exploitative. Similarly, some leaders, for their selfish interests, misuse the scientific division of society, which was designed by the Lord to help us live happily and make spiritual progress. In text 13, Krishna explains that the criteria for division is according to one's acquired nature and karma, and not based on one's birth, which unfortunately became prevalent in the recent age. Due to lack of implementation of the scientific division of society, everyone is suffering. Rather, we have created a new division of society based on one's religious faith and social status. This has led to far greater distress and social evils, such as increased rates of divorces, suicides, abortions, terrorism, unemployment, and breakdown of traditional economy. Thus, cultivating spiritual knowledge is of utmost importance for one's own well-being. Even thieves, due to lack of accurate spiritual knowledge, struggles with the basic questions of life, such as, who am I? Why am I suffering? What is the purpose of my life? Who is the object of my real love? And why do bad things happen to good people? For an instance, a noted atheist, Charles Darwin, wrote about origin of species or life, was once a staunch Christian. For him, the origin of life was God. But suddenly something happened. He had an 8-year-old son who died of cholera. And he started to think, why do bad things happen to good people? Eventually, he came to the conclusion that God doesn't exist. Otherwise, God would not have allowed his son to die. Due to lack of accurate spiritual knowledge, he became an atheist and propounded godless theory of evolution. While spiritual knowledge helps one to clear up philosophical doubts, it also helps one to clear up their karmic bank balance. We will discuss this in our next episode. Thank you for your kind attention.